So I am Randy Pierce. I'm the president and CEO of Future Insight here in Concord, New Hampshire. I am also totally blind. It began the first time I had to vote with a sight impairment where I couldn't read properly anymore. And honestly, I was still uncomfortable enough with self-advocacy in that moment. I remember just trusting them to direct me. And ironically, the direction I received was for me, 6'4", 200 plus pound gentleman with a guide dog, 85 pounds of guide dog next to me, going into a booth with somebody who was going to record it and somebody who was going to witness it. So we all crowd into this tight little booth, and it's very dehumanizing to let them ask me, know all my decisions, and perhaps do so ideally without judgment. But the reality is there's a little bit of judgment inherent in all of that process. And the two folks who were witnessing and recording probably had some slightly different perspectives, both from me and from each other. So it's just incredibly uncomfortable, incredibly dehumanizing. And part of advocacy that I've learned on the journey is, right, the best way we can advocate for ourselves is by building our competence and our confidence. That lets us go forward and do these things. But the reality is we're going to encounter adjustments to that where we need some accessibility, some adjustment to the process. And in the case of this, I can ask for a better supportive system, but if the Secretary of State's office didn't supply it, which they do, if they didn't communicate it, educate it, ensure it's really available, which hasn't happened fully until this year, that's 2.5 decades of struggle in my life. Well, then I could advocate as much as I want, but I was only going to get a mitigated result. But now I know there's a better process. And while it still needs some improvement, and maybe we can talk about that a little, I now have the confidence to say, I'm going to know what the process is, and I'm going to help educate anybody I encounter on the way who, through either willful or neglectful or purely circumstantial ignorance, wants to direct me away from that. And that happens often. And by my confidence in knowing that, I can help direct them to what is the right answer.